Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today I'm going to be discussing some features, overhauls, ship lines, and other such aspects of the game that I think need to be added or addressed in the future. And I think this is a good time to do this because we are seeing the German carriers come out, which is something that I think came out of left field for a lot of us, and I'm not sure if Wargaming was just, thinking, oh, we haven't done anything for carriers in a long time. We haven't introduced a line since the British carriers, and then they decided for some reason to go with German aircraft carriers rather than adding in back the old odd tier carriers that they still have the assets for. That I think they said that they were going to reintroduce them at the even tiers, but they were going to play a different role from the main carriers. And that, again, that is something that they haven't even touched on since the CV rework. Well, I'm lying. Actually, they did touch on it in a Discord Q&A. They said they don't have any current plans to reintroduce those carriers. So maybe they were thinking, well, since we're not going to do anything with those, we need to add in some more carrier lines. And the German carriers, I would have thought maybe France. I know they didn't really get to building carriers until after the war, but adding in post-World War II ships isn't something that has stopped wargaming before, but it would make sense since France did have a considerable navy during World War II. They built, well, didn't really do too much because France, but even after the war and still today, they have a pretty sizable navy, and I figured they would be the first ones to get a aircraft carrier line, but definitely before the Germans at least. So anyway, since you know, I guess wargaming is kind of stretching now for ideas, I'm gonna toss a couple out there. So we're going to start with the lines that I think need to be added, and then we're going to go into the features and other aspects of the game which I think need to be addressed after that. So first off is Italian battleships. I've touched on this before, and of course these are long overdue. We've got the Italian cruisers, which again is a good step forward, but Italian battleships, a whole line of battleships, a whole family of ships that haven't been added into the game that really existed during World War II, and you could have, well, they do have enough Italian battleships throughout history to make at least up to, I would believe, the tier 8 with the Roma sister ships with a Littoral class, and then just have the tier 9 and tier 10 be paper ships. They definitely need to be added into the game, and of course this has been rumored for I think the past 3 or 4 weeks that they are the next line to come out. I think most there's a spurring from the Impero being in testing as a premium ship because it's got sap and fuel smoke, which would certainly be two huge things to give a battleship. Similar piercing, as we've seen with the Venezia, is very, very strong. Fuel smoke is very, very useful, and a battleship can't really fire from inside of fuel smoke like the Venezia would be able to, just because the smoke firing penalty is so harsh on battleships. I mean, it is a battleship after all. It's got some big guns firing from inside of smoke, but the Italian cruisers, they don't have the best smoke firing penalty either. But still, fuel smoke that can save a battleship. It can buy them a turn, because most of the time that battleships get punished is when they have to turn around. And having fuel smoke to mask your turn, that's a big plus. So again, that's the first thing that I think needs to be added to the game once we get past the German carriers. Definitely Italian battleships. The next thing that I believe needs to be added is a U.S. battleship line split. I mean, this would literally be the easiest thing for wargaming to do, and they already have basically the models that they need. They would just need to tweak them a little bit. And this is something that quite a few people have said, yeah, we would actually like that. The current American battleship line, they've been power crept pretty harshly with all the new stuff being added into the game, and wargaming's tried to compensate them with an improved heel here, a lowering of a citadel there, some tweaks here and there, but still they've been power crept pretty hard. So a U.S. battleship line split would certainly be welcome, and it would be, of course, secondary focused. I mean, once they add in the California, they literally have the assets to split it at tier 7 and go all the way up to tier 10. You just have to, you could rename the California the Tennessee, rename the Massachusetts, rename an Iowa as, let's say, the New Jersey, rename the Montana as, let's say, the Louisiana. And the thing is, you could have the Louisiana be a tier 10, have everything the same as the Ohio, except let it have the 16-inch guns, and let Ohio be the premium version with the 457mm guns, but give the Louisiana, let's say, a even better heal than the Ohio, and basically keep the other parameters about the ship the same. That way, because the rule is, and this is Board Gaming's own rule, that the premium version is not supposed to be more powerful than the tech tree version. So you need to do a little bit something to each of these ships to make them a little bit better than the premium version of themselves. So maybe an improved heal. Maybe they get to keep the accuracy of the main battery guns, where the premium ones, they have the reduced accuracy, something like that. I'm sure Board Gaming could figure that out quite easily. Third line that I would think need to be added in after the U.S. battleship split would be European heavy cruisers. And you could give them an anti-submarine warfare focus. So let's say they get depth charges and hedgehog launchers and other ASW equipment that the rest of the heavy cruisers in the game don't have for the most part, because if you go looking at most of the heavy cruisers in the game, they don't have any depth charges and they don't have any type of ASW equipment on board. And again, most of them, a few do here and there from the ones that I've looked over their models. So that could be the European heavy cruisers trade. They are ASW heavy cruisers. And you could also give them, let's say, good AP. I think we can all agree that there's been more than enough light cruisers that have very fast reloading guns that like to spam HE added into the game. So maybe giving something, a line with very good AP would help ease that burden, because it's no fun to be the target of any HE spammy ship, be it a Mainz, be it a Smolensk, be it a Worcester, be it a Kleber, be it a whatever. So a heavy cruiser line that's got some decent ASW capabilities with some good AP, maybe some good AP pin angles, maybe they have a long load time, that's a trade-off for it, something like that. That's just a general concept for European heavy cruisers, and there's no lack of ships to choose from throughout history, given World War I and World War II ships. Should be plenty easy enough to make a line out of that. And after that, the last line that I propose, and by this time we would be well into probably the middle of 2021 with all these lines being added. If, again, this is all theoretical and by no way is going to happen. This is just from my brain. Italian DDs come full circle and finish up the Italian Navy with Italian DDs, and they would have SAP shells instead of HE shells, and they would have long-range torpedoes with slow speed, just like the cruisers. That could be their thing, and they could get a good number of these torpedoes since they are so slow. I'm not talking like 20 or 30, but still a decent number of torpedoes per tier. And the tier 10 could, let's say, have 15 torpedoes, just like the Shimakaze, but it can have a bit of a longer range. Just, throwing some spice in there. Does it have to be that? No, it's just my idea, and again, I'm just spitballing here. Alright, so that's the end of the lines. We're going to move on now into the features and other aspects of the game. So one thing I would really like to see is an expansion of the clans. Currently in the game, you are very limited on the amount of players you could have in a clan. Granted, World Warships is not the most populated game, but still the amount of people you can have in a clan is very limited. It's with all the expansions on the Officer Club, I believe it caps out at like 45 or 50, which really isn't a whole lot of people. And it's a dilemma that we're having to face in TSIOF. We are having to look at making TSIOF 2, splitting a clan up. That's not really a fun thing, because either you have to move people over so the clan will have people in it being active, or you have to just start putting people in that clan and you only have one or two people in that clan while you wait for other people to join, and that's no fun. So what I'd like to see is either expand the capacity of clans to, let's say, 100 players, or give clans the ability to form armadas or fleets, to where you have multiple clans part of, let's say, a fleet, where they share their resources and benefits, like the increased steel income, the increased coal income, the decreased cost of buying ships, and this and that. And that way you can have, let's say, if you do have to split up your clan into 2 or 3 clans because it's a popular clan, you can also be pulling your resources, and everyone's still getting the benefits of being in that clan, rather than having to, form individual clans. Next is, of course, a graphical upgrade and overhaul of the game. And I do understand that the game is kind of limited because, in Russia, apparently they don't have the best machines over there. But I would like to see them either overhaul the game for those of us that do have powerful machines. That way they can, I mean, they don't even have to make it a overhaul for everybody else. They can just add in some more settings that we can turn up, because quite frankly, the game is from 2015 and has been in testing since 2014, and the age is kind of starting to show on a lot of the models, especially the older ships. But like with the Fjords port, that port is absolutely beautiful. I love it. That shows how darn pretty this game can be. So Wargaming, let us run this game that pretty. I mean, my computer, well, 2 years ago it was a beast. It's still pretty beefy now, but I can run Red Dead Redemption in 60 FPS at 1440p on high settings. But, you know, with this game, it's so frustrating because World Warships isn't that pretty. But still, just give us, with those of us with powerful machines, the ability to really turn it up to 11, make the game pretty, and plus optimize the game too. There's no reason I should be, dropping frames in this game, especially with the graphics that it has now. Sometimes I'm zoomed in on a ship when it explodes, my frames drop from 75 to 20. That makes no sense when I can run, again, Red Dead Redemption 2 at high settings in 1440p with no problem and no frame drops. This game is, I love it, but it's not built all that well, and I'd love to see some more optimizations. Last thing is improved menu system when you're in the port. It's kind of a pain when you're trying to form a division, invite somebody, search them, and the menu system's pretty laggy, and it feels very old and archaic, and a refreshed one would be wonderful and go a long way to improve the quality of life in this game. Alright guys, so that's a couple of things that I think the dev team needs to address moving forward with the game, and a couple of ideas for lines that I, for one, would certainly like to see in the near future. Let me know in the comments down below what lines would you like to see, what improvements to the game, what changes to the game would you like to see. Leave that all in the comments down below. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. I hope you guys are staying safe during this very strange times. Also, if you did enjoy the video, please subscribe. We are on our way to 10,000 subs, and we are under 80 subs away from that goal. And I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Again, hope you guys are staying safe. Hope to catch all of you guys in the next one.